So everything starts with our power lines. So big volt bar going right through a power line. That's usually what happens, doesn't it? Eh? More times than not. But when we get to a power line, it's either going to bounce or it's going to just slice right on through. And it's more likely to slice right on through to get rid of that resistance or support, whatever the case may be. But that represents where the trade is anyway. So we knew ahead of time. We knew ahead of time that there was a trade down here. And here's going through with our volt. And of course, a volt means you buy when the bodies go, have the rollover on the bodies, right? Rollover, that's all you're looking for is the rollover. It gets down here at 450 or 850. I think that was 850. And then we go through, so that tells us, yep, that's it. Take this one off because we don't know that yet, eh? So let's just take it off. Get them all in order. And then a retracement back down. And you got your better fill. If you're looking for a better fill, you got it. And immediately, bang, up she goes. And now we have a new trade down here. That's why I had a line down here. So let's put the line back in. Put in our old power line back down here. This represents the next trade on the buy side. It's going to come down and we're going to have some support. You can see we have double support here. We're pretty close to it anyway, within the point, I guess. So we know it's going to slow down. So it's either going to slow down like we expect it to do because it's heavy support, double, or it's going to just go right on through, give us a volt, and then we just watch for the rollover. So if it just goes down and takes a little bounce, then we're looking at the hawk. If it slices through, then we're looking at the volt. The hawk's the same thing too, but just a little different technique on entering when to expect to get in and at what price. So textbook, absolute textbook. Couldn't ask for anything. If I had to write it down, that's how I'd write it. But how do you write it? So much easier to show it, eh? There it is in live and in color. Now, what have we done so far to the upside? Well, in order to get a hawk, we need a high that's outside the channel. Then we need a bar, which is right there. Then we need a bar that's going to be lower on the high and lower on the low. Well, we don't have the lower on the low yet. But we do now. So we have our hawk. And a hawk means I just put in my little power line, just a 1 minute power line up here. Okay, that's where the hawk is. Now, if I wanted to put a pre-order in, I'd go hawk plus a point because that's my technique on something that I'd have no idea what it's going to do, but I can jump in because the odds are in my favor that it's going to be slowing down. See, if there were more power lines close by, then that would be that would be a highly probable trade, high probability. But right now, all we are looking at is the hawk up here. Here's where the body rolled over. So it's not quite a volt. So I either go in at hawk, because I can't go in under here, because that's my worst fill is going to be where the hawk is, because it's not a volt. So it was a volt, then I'd be able to get in right here, right? Right here at 16. But I don't want to get in at 16. I want to get in at a higher price. So that's why you have your pre-existing order if you're so inclined at four ticks higher, or 2 ticks higher, or 1 tick higher. In other words, whatever your master trading plan allows you to have for a risk. I would personally, I would be in for 4, simply because there's nothing else slowing it down. There's no more power lines nearby. If there was something nearby, then I might try to nickel and dime it a little bit. But in any event, we know once it gets through here, it's going to roll over, right? So, and in the meantime, it's still a possibility for a volt slicing on through with volatility, with power. So we're just watching, let the market talk to us. It's going to tell us what we can do. We already know what the chart is saying to do. It's saying to keep an eye on that hawk. See how it just came right back, hit the power line and bounced? That's normal. That's what it should do. That's what it should do. That's why this is your worst fill. Because if you have your order there, if you're multi-lotter, you could put your order there, you could put another order in 4 ticks higher and then split the difference. And you may or may not get a fill, but this is the positive feedback. As you know, at a power line, it is supposed to bounce. See, nice bounce. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. So every time you see a power line, it's supposed to bounce. See this blue one up here? It's supposed to bounce. It stopped, went up, and then of course the volt came along. Oh, good old volt. Here's the volt. Here's the fill. See, it retraced down to your fill and through it, and then back up again. Nice fast trade if you're ready, willing, and able at 7 o'clock this morning. Here's the next power line. It's supposed to bounce. Whoops, we got a volt. See? Okay, watch for the body. Don't forget, that's still your worst fill. All of these lines are your worst fill, or first point of action, if you will. So the chart is just telling us exactly what to do. And then we just decide in our own risk reward mentality, decide when to pull the trigger according to our plan, our business plan. My business plan says, hang up your hat, Dave. Got another guaranteed winning day. That's it. 300 days a year. So this trade was just positive feedback for me. So watching now, we know there's going to be a trade when we get down here. Here's the next trade if it comes down low enough. If it comes down low enough, what is it going to do? Well, first thing it's going to do is bounce. We would expect it to bounce when it gets here, right? Oh, bounce line. Here's our bounce line. And if it slices on through, well, here's the channel. So it could slice on through here, go down, hit the bounce line, and bounce. That'd be a good one to do, because look at all the resistance here, right? Or support, I guess. Resisting it, wanting to hold it back from going lower, but supporting it. So it could come down here. So this is the next play that's probably a potential. But in the meantime, this one is still in effect because it hasn't gone higher. Once it goes higher and blasts through it, then it's over. for a brand new trade. Because what happens if it blasts through? What are we going to get? We're going to get a new hawk. We're going to get maybe a volt as well. Okay, so it recycles, but that it's supposed to slow down, and it knocked on the door like hitting glass with a fork. Bang, 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 tap, 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 tap once, tap twice. These are not coincidences. That's what you expect it to do. And it does. More times than not. So the odds are in your favor. So we're watching it now. We can see how she's going back up again. And it should bounce here. And the only other option it can do, see how it bounces when it gets there? That's what it should do. You can expect it every time. Unless we're going to end up with a volt slicing right on through, okay? So. And far as odds are concerned, after we see how we bounced up once, we bounced up twice. Okay, the third time you should expect it to go right on through. I mean, it's keep banging the glass, you're going to crack it pretty soon. So we can expect it to go right on through. Doesn't have to go on through, because this is still the hawk. Your order for a sell, if you're using that strategy, is still at 1 point higher, just for the sake of having an order working. So it's just doing its thing. But you have to draw these lines. If you don't have these lines, it's a little hard sometimes to get your eye to be trained to see it. You tend to miss a few things. See how it's going slow? It's not really pushing on through yet. This time of day, yeah, before the open, it's quite predictable. And that's what we're looking for. Just out of curiosity here, what do we have for a high of 1650? So 1750 would be up here. But notice we're not outside the channel at 1750. And the reason for that is because we've broken the uptrend by going back down. Slows things down. So when price ends up going underneath here, and here's the full body underneath. And you get a full, see it broke up, see it's higher than the last one, or equal, but it's moving up. Okay, so if the market's going to continue up, we want to be a buyer to join the party. As soon as the full bar gets underneath and that body is broken, and it's done on a stop, not on a retracement. You can get it on a retracement if you want, if that's your master trading plan. But as far as the technique is concerned, as far as the methodology is concerned, all it needs is a breakup. So, we're done. Just come up to the power line, slow down and bounced. See that? Isn't it perfect, eh? Did it exactly what you knew it was going to do with the odds. The odds are in our favor when we wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. So you only went 3 higher. So my strategy didn't work for me, but that's your worst fill. So you're going to get at least 1650. That's why when it gets up here, you could go for, instead of a 1 minute chart, you can go to a 30-second or a 15-second, then you can see the nice, steady, easy roll over that when it starts to show some weakness. But you don't need to do that. You can pick, that's a good thing to do, but you don't need to. You can just stay on your one, on your trading chart. I mean, the bus goes by often enough that we don't need to trip over things. So we're back down here, back down on the other side of midline. And we are trying to go higher. So the next thing I watch for positive feedback is a full bar that's underneath the midline. And then on a stop, watch to see how the bounce goes higher. So you keep waiting for a bar to finish. And you have to get filled on the bar that breaks out next to it, but no later than the bar after that. Otherwise, forget it. So we have our volt bar shaping up. This is why we have to wait. Okay, so our wait is over. We're still going up. Gotta be patient. Big volt. Okay. Taking them all out here. Let's just see where we go. See, there's no other power line in the middle here. Here's the closest power line right here. The reason why we do that is because we want to know where is it likely to slow down, and our power lines will tell us. So try to keep them up to date. It's good visual. So we're getting pretty close here. Should be, of course, this would end up being our hawk for the next trade over here. We don't have a hawk here. We don't have a hawk here. Looking at the volt, watching the bodies right now. Okay, now we have our hawk, and we have our volt right here as well. So a lot of scalping going on here. So lots of opportunity.